Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada. And today I wanted to show you how I made the card that I posted as part of the International Highlights blog hop. And it features the Peaceful Cabin bundle and product suite from the new Stampin' Up! July to December mini catalog. I am absolutely in love with this suite. I didn't realize it when I first saw it in the catalog. I knew I loved it, but I didn't know how much I would really love it after I started playing with the cards. And I really hope that you'll enjoy making this card with me. So if you're brand new watching me, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll take the time to subscribe. If you've come back, thank you so much for coming back. And again, I hope you've taken the time to subscribe so that you can get notified when I do upcoming videos or when I go live, which I do on a, Tuesday night at 6:30 Pacific and a Thursday night at 6:30 Pacific and also at 1 o'clock Pacific on Sundays. So I go live with different techniques and cards and just kind of share some ideas with you. So I hope you'll subscribe and get notified when I do go live or when I post upcoming videos. Okay, on to the card. Let me just switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. Okay, so this is the card that I shared as part of the International Highlights blog hop. You can see that I've used the designer series paper, which is just so pretty in the black and white and smoky slate. And it also has, this one you're not going to be able to see very well, it does have a little bit of silver foil. And so on the cards, or on the designer series paper, there is silver foil on the sheets as well. So I have cut out the cabin. You probably can't see, maybe you can a little bit. I've used the shimmer embossing paste to add some snow along the tree line and on the roof line and then the snow line. And this really pretty gingham, black and white gingham ribbon that you may have missed because it actually is in the Halloween section of the catalog. And so I just love this with this tree, or with this bundle. Okay, so let's get started. So here's the Peaceful Cabin stamp set. So it comes with stamps, some great sentiment stamps, but also stamps for the cabin, the trees, a fence, a little fox, some snowflakes. Not sure what that one's for. And then there are the dies that go with it. Take them out here. So you have the die that will cut out the cabin and the trees, as well as these trees we're going to use on it as well. You can cut out the fox. That's a little fox, and then his shape. These pieces, so this one here, actually just embosses, which is really cool, a cabin. And then these also emboss the trees without cutting them out. And these emboss snowflakes. So those are great dies to use as well. Okay. Okay, let's put this off to the side. Bring in my supplies. Now, all of the measurements for this card will be posted on my blog. So if you miss any as I'm doing the video, you can always just go over to my blog, and the link to that will be underneath the video so that you can get the written instructions for this card and also the measurements. So the first piece that you need is a piece of basic black cardstock that is cut 5.5 by 8.5. And you can either score that at 4 1/4 and then fold, or just fold it in half to form your card base. That's the easy step. All right, so now I've got a piece of the designer series paper that is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to adhere that down. Isn't that the other side with the buffalo check in kind of the gray tones? It's just pretty. Okay, we're just going to adhere this down with Stampin' Seal or whatever your favorite adhesive is. Like that. Okay. All right, so now I've got a piece of basic white cardstock that I've cut to be 4 inch, well, it's actually a little bit wider, we'll trim it, 4 inches by about 3 inches. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to stamp. Let me see. Let me get some blocks out. Oops. No, that's all I need. All right. So we're going to, we don't need the trees. We just need the cabin. And then there's a thank you, which is perfect for this card. The theme of this blog hop is thank you. So that's perfect for my card. Okay, so I'm going to use Tuxedo Black Memento for my cabin. When I've got a block that's a little bit bigger like this one, or even the really big one, I tend to ink it from the top. So I'm just going to stamp this over to the side, a little bit off to one side and at the bottom. Oops, actually, I didn't want it at the bottom. I wanted it at the top. Oops. Okay. I'm ahead of myself. All right, let's re-ink that. And you're going to stamp it a little closer to the top. So we want to leave, so still off to one side, but leave about an inch at the bottom. Just thinking about a different card as I stamp that one. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, my mini. Put that on here, and I'm going to bring in the die. Now you can use, I kind of like to use something just to hold it in place so it doesn't shift as I'm running it through. So I've got some Post-it note tape, or you can just use a Post-it note to hold your die onto your paper. Looks like it's already shifted it. There we go. Now things will wiggle as I try to get this going. There we go. Okay, so there's the, get this off. There's your cabin cut. We'll have to trim that just a little bit. These pieces of Post-it note tape I reuse. Okay, and now I want to cut some trees. So I'm just going to use this piece. I've got a scrap piece of basic black cardstock. And I'm using, there are three dies here for the trees. So I'm just going to cut one of each size of these little trees. And I think it's wiggling around. Go. Okay. I love these trees. They're kind of tall and skinny. Okay, so that's use my take your pick tool to get this one out. There we go. There, so those are my 3 trees. And I can put, okay. So I do need to trim this one because I've got it, I had my paper just a little bit too wide. So I want to trim it to 4 inches. So I'm just gonna put it in and trim just a little bit off that one side. So this one's going to go at the bottom like this. But before we do that, we're going to wrap This is so pretty, this black and white gingham. So we're going to wrap this around the bottom and just seal it. Use Stampin' Seal or whatever you like to use. I just want to put it down a little bit closer to the bottom. There we go. Just kind of at the bottom. Cut it. Fold that over. Now, I'm going to use some dimensionals to adhere this on. Put a dimensional over top of the ribbon just to give it a little bit extra adhesive to hold it on. Maybe one here and one there, so I don't get a saggy middle. Okay, so this is going to go. When I realized I forgot to cut one piece while I had my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine here. Okay, so I've got that on there. Now a glue dot works really well to adhere the trees. Almost out of glue dots. Okay. So we'll just put a glue dot on each of these trees. And then just take my take your pick tool. I just find it works really well too. So then these can just go tuck underneath wherever you want them. Oops. And the last one we put over here. Oops. There we go. All right. Now I do need just a little bit, so maybe about 3 inches of ribbon. We're just going to tuck that here and tie a knot on the one side. Like that. And we'll just trim off the excess. There we go. Okay. All right, almost done. I realized I forgot to cut the little gate out when I had my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So let's just bring that back. This card, well, this whole suite reminds me, I don't know how many years ago, but I hadn't stamped in a long time. And one year I decided I was going to go and get the supplies to make Christmas cards. This was long before I'd ever heard of Stampin' Up. And so I went and I went and purchased a stamp that reminds me very much of this. It had a scene like this with a cabin, and I bought at the time, it's like an embossing paste, but it puffed up. Stampin' Up had it last year, I think, or the year before. And so you could put that on the roof, which was really cool. And so, yeah, it was, I had such fun making that card, and this whole bundle reminds me of it. So when I saw it, I just knew that I had to have this. All right, we're going to put that here and just let that for a minute. Okay, so the last thing we want to stamp, if I can find my piece of basic white and my piece of basic black. Okay, so we're going to stamp the thank you. Where's my punch? There it is. Okay, so I just want to make sure. There we go. Thank you. And now I've got my double oval punch. So, yeah, okay, that works. So we're just going to punch out the thank you from the little oval. And now we're going to punch a scalloped oval from the basic black. There we go. And again, use some dimensionals to pop this up. Like that. And then a couple more for the back. Just that right there. Now, I'm going to wait just a minute because the last thing, well, second last thing I'm going to do on my card is to put some sequins. So I'm just going to use the multi-purpose liquid glue, and you can just take a little, just put a little, oopsie, there we go, a little dot. So we're going to put one on each there, and then just 3 more randomly. So I'm just putting little dots of glue. And then I've got my sequins here. These are so pretty. These are the subtle shimmer sequins. So I'm just going to pick up a sequence and put on. There's all different sizes and different colors. Oops, 2 there. Where did that go there? There. Find my glue. Sometimes I lose track when there's a little one. Just add some sequins to add a little bit of detail. Oops. There we go. And then the last thing that I want to do with the card is, this is the shimmery white embossing paste, and it's great for snow. So I've got a palette knife. You can buy the palette knives in a package. I keep mine in the bag because I don't want it to dry out. And I keep the foil kind of over top again so it doesn't dry out. And just give it a bit of stir. And I don't know that you're going to be able to see how shimmery this actually is. But I just want to, I'm just going to take my palette knife and just kind of apply the snow down the snow line along the bottom of the card, along the bottom of the cabin. And then I'm just going to take it and apply along the roof line. Just makes it look like there's snow on the roof line. All right. And then take that, and then just make sure I put the lid on very tight with it so that it doesn't dry out. Now, the reason I didn't adhere this down is because you can now use, I'm just going to put this over here by on the one side of my cabin. And you can just use and just kind of put it, excuse me, over top of where the embossing paste is. And then you don't need adhesive. It will just adhere there on top of the embossing paste. So that's the card. It doesn't take too long to put together, but doesn't that snow, I don't know if you can see, there you go. You kind of see the snow popped up. You can't see the shimmer to it. It does quite a shimmer to it. And it just is so pretty. Okay. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you'll take a look at the Peaceful Cabin product suite, because I think you're going to love it. It just is, you can just kind of feel the warmth of the cabin and the fire going, and maybe some marshmallows on the fire or something. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, please take the time to subscribe so you get notified when I do upcoming videos. I'd love for you to check out my videos and leave comments. Again, if you have any questions about this particular card, please leave a comment underneath the video, or if you're over on my blog, leave a comment on the blog and I'm happy to respond to your questions. So thanks very much for joining me, everybody. Happy stamping. Bye.